Hello, I'm the Great Geek because I'm 50% Greek and 100% a geek. I remember the first time watching this movie in cinemas and not being overly that impressed with it. I thought, yeah, this is a good X-Men movie. Not the best, not the worst, but it's pretty good. But in watching it again, especially recently, it's a fantastic X-Men movie. It expands so much of the universe of what happens in the past and how all the characters get to where they are in the time now. It is an excellent X-Men movie. From the opening of this movie, I'm just thinking, hey, I've seen this before. So we see Magneto's origin again, so it's pretty much the same thing beat for beat, except expanded upon a bit more. So then it jumps forward to the 1960s, where superpowered humans Charles Xavier and Eric Leshner work together to find others like them, as in being mutants. But Eric's vengeful pursuit of an ambitious mutant who ruined his life causes a schism that divides them both. Meanwhile, everyone else tries to stop World War III from breaking out. James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender playing Charles Xavier and Eric Leshner respectively. Excellent casting, in my opinion. They do good younger versions of both movie characters. Both Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy are doing kind of different interpretations of the character. They're younger and different. They're essentially different characters, but they're not doing the exact same kind of performance that Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen did in the first few X-Men movies. And you have Kevin Bacon playing Sebastian Shaw, which is a very ambitious mutant, very power-hungry mutant. I really enjoy his performance. I like seeing Kevin Bacon in a villainous role. He does it very well. And you got Jennifer Lawrence in this pre-Hunger Games, so she's not the huge star that she has become nowadays. So in this movie, she is actually trying and doesn't think that she's too good for this franchise yet. And of course, the other characters, you've got Rose Byrne playing Moira McTaggart, Alex Gonzalez playing Riptide, Jason Fleming playing Azazel, Zoe Kravitz, who plays Angel, who is not Angel, it's Angel Salvador, a different kind of Angel, okay? January Jones, who plays Emma Frost, but not the same Emma Frost that was in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now that I think about it, boy, this franchise is a mess. And Nicholas Hoult, who of course plays Hank McCoy, aka The Beast. Everyone does a good performance in this movie. And I like the parallels between Charles and Eric, the differences between their upbringing. Charles had a very posh upbringing. His parents were very wealthy. He didn't have anything that he didn't want. And Eric he was there during the Holocaust. So he got the short end of the straw, clearly. And it really molds them into the characters they become. Charles becomes very caring and loving, but can be just a bit arrogant and egotistical sometimes. Eric becomes Magneto, who is very harsh and violent. Even so, with their conflicting ideals, you really buy them becoming friends and developing their relationship. And I remember seeing this the first time and thinking, wow, Charles is a bit of a ladies' man in his younger years. And it changes the dynamic between Charles and Raven, aka Mystique. They have like a brother-sister, best friends kind of dynamic, so you wouldn't have got that from the first three films, would you? So they've changed that up to give Raven Mystique more complexity, I want to say. But Mystique's character does change, and she does start to take on Magneto's views of the worlds that mutants are being oppressed and people don't want mutants to be around and they should just be themselves, and she is constantly fighting that. And I like the relationship between Raven and Hank as well, them bonding over their mutations, being that they change their actual physical bodies and they look very different compared to other mutants who still look like normal humans just with powers. Although their attraction to each other does seem very rushed, like one scene they're just introduced to each other, which is nice and everything, and then all of a sudden they're making out. So that does feel a bit rushed. So Kevin Bacon is a fantastic villain in this. He's a little underdeveloped and underutilized, but when he is on screen as a villain, I love him. He just plays this sadistic, power-hungry character so well. And like, he takes sadistic joy in the things that he does. Very good.
Yeah. Wunderbar.
I find it funny that Magneto wants to go out of his way so much to kill Sebastian Shaw, but he shares his ideals so much. Like, essentially Sebastian Shaw is at Magneto 1.0 and then Magneto becomes 2.0. Jeez. So acting is good, but I did notice one instance when Magneto, Michael Fassbender, is giving his speech at the end of the movie, he does let his normal accent pop through.
The humans have played their hand. Now we get ready to play ours.
Very brutal fight scenes when you think about it. Not much blood, and there's no gore or anything like that. Nothing too brutal like that. But when you think about it, the opening scene when Eric uses his powers for like the second time, he crushes those Nazi soldiers' heads inside those helmets. That's fucking brutal. And he goes on a murder spree trying to find out where Sebastian is, just killing these ex-Nazis, stabbing their hands, killing them, holding Emma Frost hostage by binding her with the metal parts of the footboard of a bed and crushing her so much that even her diamond skin starts to crack. It really shows his way of doing things. And I love seeing everyone's powers on display. There's a very nice scene where all the younger mutants get together and discuss their mutant abilities and testing them out and showing them off. There's a scene where a statue gets destroyed, which is very relevant today. The Hellfire Society's raid on the CIA headquarters is very brutal as well. The Zazel just teleporting CIA agents out of the sky, just teleporting them up into the sky and just letting them drop just to splat down on the ground, tearing them apart with swords and knives. Sebastian just absorbing all this energy from gunfire and just unleashing it and obliterating everything around him. Riptide summoning fucking hurricanes and destroying everything. It's all just fantastic. Love seeing it. And you can see how unprepared the younger mutants, the proto-X-Men, if you will, and the CIA, they're not ready to take on the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club is just that much more powerful and experienced that they take them out with ease. Even killing one of them own in the form of Darwin, which I do have a problem with, because Darwin's ability is to adapt to anything. But apparently not, because he can't adapt to Sebastian Shaw shoving raw energy down his throat, causing him to explode. He can't adapt to that, apparently. And the missile scene is very epic as well, where Magneto is deflecting the Soviet Union's and the US's missiles back at them, loses control of them briefly, then gets control again, and it happens a couple of times, just trying to take everything down. Some fantastic action sequences in this movie. So the music in this movie is composed by Henry Jackman, which sounds like the beautiful love child of Henry Cavill and Hugh Jackman. There are some fantastic scores in this movie, and I will link a couple in the description down below that you can check out that are on YouTube, and you can listen to them yourself. There's some fantastic scores in this movie. I've neglected to mention this in my earlier X-Men reviews as well, but the sound design for people's powers is fantastic as well. Like, for example, Magneto in this movie and the previous ones, just the sound of him moving metallic objects, it has like a metallic whirring noise to it when he's lifting stuff up and throwing stuff around, and I just thought that sounds perfect for someone who has that ability. We get the origin of Magneto's helmet. So Sebastian Shaw had it first, and the Russians made it apparently, but I may be wrong, but I was under the impression that Magneto and Charles made it.
The Russians made me this.
So I'm pretty sure that was a lie in the first movie, but I may be wrong. You can comment below and let me know if I'm right or wrong or not. So we get the origin of Cerebro as well, where it was made. And again, I might be wrong, but I thought Magneto helped Charles make it. But again, I might be wrong in that again. I might be remembering the first movie wrong. Again, I'm not sure. But I like as well when they're in the proto-Cerebro that they make a reference to cutting off Charles's hair and he's, no, don't cut off my hair. They make a couple of other jokes like that too, which is funny because he does become bald eventually. Even though we do find out in Apocalypse how he loses his hair, and it is fucking stupid. There's a lot more obscure mutants that are shown off in this movie, which I liked. We got to see Azazel, which is Nightcrawler's father, so apparently him and Mystique get it on. Not sure if that happens in this universe, but that's what's supposed to happen. We get Riptide as well, who says absolutely nothing in this movie, and we've got Angel and Darwin as well. So lots of obscure mutant characters. Seeing Hank's mutation as well is pretty cool, seeing that it's a slower mutation. He didn't start off with blue hair and bestial features before. He accelerated the process by trying to develop a cure. And I do like the explanation of why Charles is in a wheelchair. It's because Magneto deflected a bullet into his spine. That was a nice detail, and I like that, even though it's almost done away with in the next movie. So, special effects, they're fine. I just wanted to mention, I just put this in here just to mention this one thing, that there's one scene where there's some fish in an aquarium and it looks like shit. That's all I got to say. So, people jump all over the place, all the time in this movie. You're jumping from country to country to country, from state to state to state. People are all over the place in a flash. It is ridiculous. You think that the jumping around in Game of Thrones season 7 and 8 was bad? This is even worse. People are fast traveling all over the place in this one. I mean, I get it, that it's a whole world, there's lots going on in Russia and in America and everywhere in between, I guess. And of course you have to jump around like that to all these different locations. Like, I get it, but it is very jarring as well. And what's weird is that they're halfway through the movie, there's like a rush against time thing going on. Like, oh, we've got to hurry up and stop the Americans and the Russians from getting these missiles and starting World War III. Like, there's that element, and then all of a sudden they decide to do a training montage. Like, I like the training montage. Don't get me wrong, but when there's a race against time element in the movie, maybe stopping for a few days to do a training montage is not the best thing to do. And what's funny is that the editing for the training montage kind of reminds me of Ang Lee's Hulk, with the comic book panel kind of weird thing that Ang Lee did in the 2003 movie Hulk. As much as a cinematic masterpiece as that was, it's kind of weird in this movie as well. I would absolutely recommend X-Men First Class. It's not perfect, but it is a damn enjoyable X-Men movie. It is easily in my top 5 X-Men movies. It is very enjoyable. There are a few world-building elements to it that aren't really consistent with the established things in previous movies, and going forward, that even gets rockier as time goes on. But it is a very enjoyable movie, fantastic casting, excellent action sequences, acting for the most part is really good, and it's just a good movie. I really recommend that you check it out. And as always, thank you for listening to me ramble on about an X-Men movie for a few minutes. I do appreciate it. Thank you again, and I'll catch you next time.